Hello yoga friends, welcome to Radiant Yoga with Colleen, and I'm Colleen Dolce. I'm here at the beautiful Neys Provincial Park today in Northern Ontario, and as I came down onto my mat and got settled, thought about distractions, how we can easily get distracted from present moment and get distracted from what we're doing. And wouldn't it be nice if we could just take great joy in whatever practice we're doing, whether it's washing the dishes or cutting and chopping food or walking with our dog or practicing yoga on the beach. There's always going to be a distraction, whether it's sounds, from the highway or sand on your yoga mat. The idea is to stay fully present to what is and let go of resistance to what is. Not trying to push anything away or cling to any good experience, just whatever comes up, and there's our yoga practice, and there's our life. Staying in present moment and not resisting what is. So as you settle into your mat, take a look around where you're at, just noticing colors and textures, shapes. Take a deep breath in and notice if there's any scent in the air. Run your tongue around the inside of your mouth, between your gums and your teeth. Noticing if you need a drink, if you're thirsty, or if there's any moistness or dryness. And then close your eyes for a moment. Sit up a little taller and notice everything you could hear. There's always something. When we meditate, we notice and then let it go. The idea is to stay fully present without creating any story with the thoughts that come up. Just watch them float by like clouds in the sky. They're just there. Don't get caught up in them. So pressing the sit bones down, lengthen up, and settle into your own skin today. Noticing how your body feels. Noticing your energy. Bring your hands to your heart. Do a little check-in to your emotional well-being this morning. Mind, body, and spirit. Bring your hands up onto your head, and you could drop your head down, close your eyes. Just think about our mind, always busy, jumping from one thing to another. And that's fine. But then release your hands, drop them down, take a look at the hands. And this is where we want to stay in present moment for our yoga practice. Letting go of past, letting go of future, coming into the here and now. So take your hands and rub them together. See if you could generate a little bit of heat. And then give yourself a little energy wash. You could picture a sensation of bringing energy into your face, into your eyes, cheeks, jaw, hairline. And then just a little brush off through the shoulders, from the shoulders down to the tips of the fingers. And then shake out the hands. And then open the fingers wide as you possibly can. And you could close your eyes, open the mouth wide. And release. And then roll the shoulders. And roll them the other way. And then release, turn your head side to side. Just a reminder to Move in ways that are wise and supportive for you today. So if you've got something going on, honor it. Take care of yourself. Modify as you need to. And you could drop the chin down. Feel that nice stretch at the base of the neck. And then lift the chin up. Feel the lengthening on the front of the throat. And release. And then, once again, right ear to the shoulder. Take your right arm up and drop the hand to rest on the left side of the head. No pressure, just a little extra weight. And then come up and drop the left ear to the shoulder. Left hand comes up. And release. Good. Lean back into your hand. So lean back, bend the knees, bring the feet about hip width apart, and let the knees do a little side to side. And release. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. A little wiggle. And then see if you could sit up even taller than usual with the shoulders back. And notice your breath. See if you could hear it. You can begin the Ujjayi breath now if you know the Ujjayi breath. Breathe in and out through the nose, slight constriction at the back of the throat. You can tuck your chin in ever so slightly. Drawing up through the crown of the head as if you're reaching up, but still feeling the sit bones planted in the earth. Maybe the bottoms of the feet touching each other, and you're maybe really grabbing hold of your feet, or you can use your tie and lasso your feet. And then draw yourself forward. Stay with the straight spine. Soft gaze. Exaggerate your breath. Perhaps as you breathe in, it's as if you get taller and there's this pulse as you come up, and then as you breathe out, a sense of release. But still the spine is straight. We're not rounding the spine at all. Bring your awareness to where you feel this butterfly, but Padmakonasana. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Turn your head side to side. All the way back up. Bring the knees together and straighten out your legs. Shake them out. Wiggle the toes. And we're going to move into table. So coming onto your hands and knees. Notice if you want a little extra cush underneath your knees, you can always have a blanket or an extra mat. And once on your hands and knees, notice that, did you go right onto the hands or right onto the fists? So find a practice that works for you, either palms down or on your fists or forearms. Tilt the pelvis as if you're trying to get the tailbone facing up towards the sky. Maybe the belly drops. And now tuck the tailbone under. Nice and slow. Notice as soon as you start to do that, the back rounds up towards the sky, and you can drop your head, look at the knees, and then start at the pelvis again. Tilt the hips. drop the belly and look forward, look up. Start at the tailbone, tap under. Now if you've left that ujjayi breath behind, go back to the ujjayi breath and move in sync to your breath. And then open the knees a little wider, bring the big toes together. You can reach forward with the hands, reach back with the hips. You could drop down onto the forearms, the hips reaching towards the heels. Maybe the chest even drops down, and a little wiggle side to side. And then bring the hands underneath the head. You could stack the hands. Drop your forehead on the hand. So staying right there. As you come to the top of the breath, breathe in a little more than you normally would. As you exhale, breathe out a little more than you normally would. So still with this focus on our breath. Notice everywhere the body's compressed. The tops of the feet pressing into your mat, thighs pressing onto the calves, the back of the knees, maybe the front of the thighs, the groin. And then notice if there's places where you feel stretch, perhaps lower back. And then come back up into table. Reach your right leg up behind you, give it a little shake, and then rotate that back foot. Circle with the foot. And then circle the other way. Drop the right knee down, bring the left leg up, shake it out, and rotate the left foot, and then circle the other way. Drop the left knee down and take your left leg forward into a lunge. Wiggle the right knee back until you feel this is your lunge. It could be a gentle lunge with the knee right underneath the hip, or a vigorous lunge with the knee back a little further. You could be hands down or on your fists. Maybe you've got blocks, and soften your gaze. Let the hips drop. Hold and breathe. And again, come to the top of the breath. Hold on to it for even just one count. Exhale completely. Hold it out for one count. One or two. And then go through your body again. Where do you feel the compression and where do you feel the stretch? You can walk the left foot out, bring the left hand to the inside edge of the leg, and from here drop down onto the elbows. If coming down on the elbows is too much, come back up on the hands. Keep the left knee hugged in close to the left shoulder. Hold and breathe. And then come up. And we're going to stretch the hips back. Yes, there's always distractions. Here we've got the wind and the train and the water, people walking dogs. And then come forward, and let's switch that around. Bring your left foot back and bring your right leg forward. Wiggle the left knee back till you find your lunge. And breathe. So if you get a chance to practice outside, whether it's on your deck or your balcony, your grass, the dock, the beach, or the park, try it, because I think when you do that, do our pranayam, really deep, giant breaths in, it's magical, the fresh air. And again, as you do your ujjayi breath and you breathe in, notice if there's any scent, moistness, dryness. What other things can root you to present moment? I think mostly sensations in the body. Drop down onto the elbows, if that's comfortable. Keep the right knee hugging the right shoulder. And then come all the way up and walk your hips back. Wave with the right foot. And then come center so that you're in a wide stance squat with the hips drop down and the elbows and the crooks of the knees. Hold and breathe. And do a little rocking back and forth. Noticing your balance. If this doesn't work for you, stand up and then come back down into a squat that does work for you. And then from here, you can use your cushion again. We're going to drop back down again. And nice wide-legged stance. Seated, wide-legged forward fold. Notice the inner thighs. Let the hips roll forward. And we'll stay with a straight spine again. And draw yourself forward. Now, if you're a real keener and you want to round the spine, drop your head right down onto the mat. That's fine. Think about your intention for your practice, and then your intention for each pose. What are we looking for in this wide-legged forward fold? Is it hamstrings for you? Is it lower back? Is it the inner thighs? The groin area? Where do you feel it? What are you looking for? There's always a sense, though, of lifting up and out of the waistline and then hinging from the hips. Not so much just rounding the spine. And once you find your edge, then you go back to the ujjayi breath. Softening the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw. Softening around the hold. Sometimes the longer we hold, the more of a release we have. And sometimes you realize you've gone too far and you need to come up. walk your hands all the way back up, and you can lean back into the hands, bring the legs together, shake them out. Sitting up nice and tall, the hips hinge forward, arms reach up and shift forward. So you reach and then release down. Notice how that feels in your thighs or the backs of the legs, lower back. And again, notice we're staying with the straight spine. We're just hinging from the hips. So maybe your hands are resting on your legs. Maybe they're on the feet. Maybe you've got the big toe. Maybe you've got your hands clasped behind the feet. If your hamstrings are exceptionally tight and that's all you could think about right now, put your blanket or a rolled up towel underneath your knees, or just soften your knees. What can you let go of here? Are you holding in places that you don't need to hold on to? What can you relax and soften? Find the balance between effort and ease. And slowly make your way up. Shake out the legs. Let the feet windshield wiper side to side. Bring your in and sit up straight once again. Moving into sun breath, bring the arms up. Reach up. Do a little steeple with your hands as you extend up through the waistline. And then exhale with the ha breath. And the hands come all the way down. Inhale. And when the hands come up, arch the spine. Look right up. Sometimes we need to slow down. My grandfather used to say, Colleen, don't forget to slow down and smell the roses. And the chin drops as the hands come down. Open the arms wide, embracing all that there is. And one more time. Good. From here, I think we're going to move into pigeon. A few things about pigeon first. If you have problematic knees, a great modification for pigeon is figure 4. And figure 4 looks like this. You're on your back and you could be right here, maybe with a cushion under your head. That's one modification for instead of pigeon. Or you could move into rock-a-baby and just do a little side to side, cradling the leg. It's all about the knees, it's all about the hips, and you'll quickly figure out maybe if sometimes it's one side but not the other side that you want to do a modification. So we'll start with the right leg bent. So put your blanket or cushion on your right side or your block. And then from table, bring your right knee up towards your right hand and the foot over to the left side of your mat, and then wiggle the left foot back. And if you look back, it's going to be in a straight line behind you. So of course, my earth here is very wobbly. Nothing feels quite stable. So you might need to put a cushion underneath the right hip if both hips aren't sitting really nicely with the hip squared on the mat. Or the right hip should be, your left hip's not going to be sitting on the mat at all. And breathe. Notice how this feels on the right knee. And then you can, if you're not using your blanket underneath your hip, you could have it in front of you. And we're going to slowly bring ourselves forward. Maybe start with just on the elbows and any adjustments you need. And you can stay right here or keep folding over and drop your head down. Maybe resting on your hands. And then settle in. Settle in again. Settle into yourself. Where do you feel it? Right hip? Or is it the knee? Maybe it's somewhere else. Where's the stretch? Where's the compression? And can you still hear yourself breathe? And can you settle into pigeon with a balance between ease and effort? Sometimes people have a bolster here to kind of cradle. Sometimes just the blanket. Sometimes they're right down on the mat without any props. And then come up. Of course, if you wanted to stay for another 5 minutes, you could always pause the video for a couple of minutes and then rejoin me. Or you could come up now and lift up a little higher. Shoulders are back, chest is lifted. Peek up. And now curl the back toe under. Bring your right leg back. Let's move into downward dog. So the hands are shoulder width apart, feet are hip width apart. Walk the dog. Do a little twist side to side. And turn your head side to side, up and down. And then drop the knees down. We'll come up onto our knees. Curl the toes under. We'll move into camel. So camel, you could have your hands right here on the hips, or you could have them back on the heels. So give that a try. One heel, then the other, and if that works, that might be where you have your hands. Otherwise, supported camel, hands on the hips. Inhale the hands forward. Exhale, reach all the way around behind you, right onto the sacrum or right onto the heels, and then press the hips forward. Lift the chest up, peek up. And reach up with one hand, come all the way back up, and we'll do pigeon on the other side. Come back into table, bring the left knee over to the left wrist, foot's over on the right side of the mat, and now start to wiggle the right foot back. And again, if you look back, that right leg's kind of straight out behind you. and the left hip is settled nicely on your mat. If not, then you'll jam your blanket or towel or cushion underneath the left hip. So take a moment, notice how this feels on your knee, on your hip, and you can always move into rock-a-baby or figure 4 on your back. And then we'll drop down onto the elbows, do another check-in. And the idea is to have your hips squared. So if you feel like you're leaning onto that left side and you're torquing your hips, that's not a healthy thing. Put your blanket underneath your left hip instead. You should feel squared without definitely not torquing the pelvis. So you could stay here, up on the elbows, or you could drop down and rest your head in your hands. So with any two-sided pose, often the first thing you kind of think about is there a difference from one side to the other? And we just notice that. And there often is. Lots of different reasons. And then see if there's any places that you could soften. Maybe you tensed up your jaw. Maybe you've clenched your fists. Where can you soften here? Are you still breathing? Now lift back up onto the elbows, and then back up onto the hands. Lift the chest up, peek up. And release. This time just bring the left leg back into table, shake the legs out. And we're going to sit on come up onto your knees first. Some people they're going to sit on their feet. They have a blanket between their knees and their heels, kind of sitting like this, or sit on blocks. But of course, if sitting on your feet is contraindicated for you and you shouldn't be, whether it's the knees, hips, or feet, then come back into a cross-legged position. So if you're comfortable sitting on your knees, just notice how that feels. And notice if you've bulged out through the back right away, draw yourself up, sitting up tall. And then lean back into your hands. And you could be on your palms or on your fists. Arch the spine, lift the chest up. And you've got choices here for your neck. Every time we do a back bend, you have choices. Chin tucked, or looking straight ahead, or drop back. What is right for you. We often have old injuries that come up and haunt us in our yoga practice. So we have to honor them, not fight them. They're there. From here you could open the knees and stay right here with the arched spine, or lift your hips up. Tuck your tailbone under, drop the hips back down, and see if coming down onto your elbows, how that feels for you. And again, you could also have your blanket here to drop down. If you're sitting cross-legged, just lean back into the hands, or you can move into another posture, or bend your knees, let the feet, the knees windshield wiper side to side. If this is comfortable here though, on your knees with your elbow up, drop down to the elbows. See if you could drop right down, dropping the shoulders onto the mat. Press your knees down. They're going to want to bounce up. So press the knees down. Feel the weight now on the shoulders and the stretch on the front of the thighs. And relax the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw. You could reach your hands overhead. Relaxing the arms. Keep pressing the knees down. And then release the hands back to your sides. Come back up onto the elbows and work your way up. Nice and slow. Back up onto your knees. From here into table. Curl your toes under. And let's stretch that out with our down dog. Lift your hips up and back. Press the heels out one at a time. Turn your head side to side. And let's hold here in downward dog, but let the breath pulse through you. So you're not completely still. There's a sense of pulsing with your breath. It might be that you bend your knees a little bit, and press down with the hands. Just a little bit of movement. Maybe come up onto the toes and then back down. Turn your head side to side. Whoever thought that maybe our down dog could be a restful pose. And then drop your knees back down, and we're going to come right down onto the belly. So once on your belly, drop down onto your forearms for just a moment. Tops of the feet are on your mat. Shoulders are underneath your shoulders. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. Palms are down. And draw yourself forward between the hands. Press down with the fingers as if you wanted to lengthen forward. Tuck the chin under towards the chest. And then look straight ahead of you towards the front of your mat. And then look up. And then maybe back down. So the neck is more in alignment with the spine than not. Notice where the pubic bone is, the hip points, the belly. You can be up high, or you could be dropped down. Somewhere there's a midpoint that makes Sphinx comfortable for you. Again, find comfort and ease within each and every pose, and it doesn't mean there isn't a challenge. Challenge is good. But maybe not a strain. And then if you want a little deeper back bend, press down with the hands and straighten up. Straighten the arms, come up. If this feels like too much for your lower back, just drop back down onto the elbows. Let's go all the way down onto the belly. Bring your forearms in front of you. Cross the arms. Rest your forehead on your hand. Bend the knees and let the feet windshield wiper side to side. And then we're going to roll onto the backs. So come right down onto your back. So if you like having your blanket, put your blanket underneath your head. And once on your back, hug your knees to your chest. Give yourself a little hug. And then bring your nose up to your knees. Squeeze. Release your head back down. You could do a little rocking side to side. And then with the hands on the knees, begin to circle the knees. And circle the other way. Bring the knees down towards the armpit area. Reach up. See if you can grab hold of the feet or the ankles. Open the feet a little wider. Keep your chin tucked. Press your tailbone down towards the mat. And explore a little bit. You could have the legs wider apart or closer in, or knees drawn down further or up. Blanket underneath your head or not. And while you're here in Happy Baby, open the mouth as wide as you can. And then squeeze the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, purse the lips. Open the mouth wide again. And then relax the eyes, cheeks, jaw. Breathe right into the lower lobes of the lungs, right down. Feel the breath come right into the diaphragm. Settle back into the Ujjayi breath. Bring the feet together and the knees together, the arms out to T. Chin is tucked. Bring the knees up and over towards the right elbow. Turn your head, look over at the left. Engage the pelvic floor. Inhale the knees up. Exhale over to the other side. So just side to side at your own pace with your breath. Think about the distractions that keep you from your yoga practice or contemplative practice. Often, we just need to get past them. Let them go. We see them as blocks or just like a wall that you can't get past. Sometimes you have to change the way you look at things, and then the things you look at change. And instead, you could think of them as, this is just reality. I'm going to practice yoga today no matter what. Or my yoga practice today might be all the bending and stretching I do in the garden, or the 5 or 10 minute meditation that I practice right after lunch or just before bed. Come back to center. Drop the bottoms of the feet. Lift your hips up. Bring them closer to the heels. Let the knees windshield wiper side to side here. Sometimes if you can't roll out your mat in the middle of the day, how could you bring your yoga practice off the mat? Just in the way you deal with people, with relationships. The way you view the world, and view yourself, can be your yoga practice. Come back to center and straighten the legs out. Stretch them out one at a time. Bring them about hip width apart. Bring your arms out to your side. 45-degree angle from the torso, palms up. Wiggle the hips a little side to side. Tuck the chin under, and we'll move into Shavasana. Could be that some days Shavasana is the perfect posture for you. You can only do one. It might be that that's the day it should be Shavasana. A mindful, deliberate rest and relaxation. Often our day is busy and non-stop, so our yoga practice is influenced by that, and it should be slow and restful. So in Shavasana, we bring our attention back to the breath again. Flat on your back, or maybe you have a roll underneath your knees or your feet up on a chair. And once again, notice everything that you could hear. Near and far away. Notice the temperature of your body. When you breathe in, come to the top of the breath. Breathe in a little more than you normally would. Hold on to the breath for a couple of counts. And then exhale with a sigh. Feel your body right from top to bottom. The soles of the feet, the ankles, calves, knees, thighs, the pelvis, the hips, the belly, the rib cage, the chest, the back, the shoulders, the lower arms, upper arms, the hands. Turn your head side to side. Notice the neck. And then open the mouth again wide. Relax, feel the face, the skull. Your body as a whole. Soles of the feet, palms of the hands, crown of the head, front and back body. Side. The temperature of your body. And know that there is peace within. Always there. Perhaps easier to find in a time of stillness and silence. But regardless, always there, that peace within. Sometimes we need to pause to access it. So bring your hands onto your heart and affirm to yourself, I am at peace. I am content. I am loved. And you can And slowly bring yourself up to a seated position. Bring the hands into Anjali Mudra, thumbs at the heart. So Namaste is the typical way of beginning and ending a class, and it can mean a lot of different things. In this case, I honor the place in you which is of love, peace, and truth. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. So it recognizes the divinity within each and every one of us, and the fact that we're all connected. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today.